What it is not is group therapy. Um, what I am an instructor and mentor. What I am not a therapist or a parent. A parent to anyone in the group. What it is, mentoring and resource referrals, is not a counseling session. It is a lot of information. It's the opportunity, you have the opportunity to participate in a way that makes you feel comfortable. So as much as you want to participate or as little as you want to participate, that is completely up to you. Um, I don't have any um, I don't have any stake in it. I'm still going to make sure you get the information, but however you want to participate, or however what it is not you want to be, that is merely up to you. What is not a time to expose, embarrass, or call out, or make participants feel uncomfortable. What I am not, so that would definitely not be my intent for this course. So module 1, so the next 4 weeks, we will focus on the trauma and mentoring focus for the next 4 weeks will revolve around safety, trustworthiness, and transparency. So session 1, we will discuss today's session. We're going to be discussing trauma awareness and understanding and the importance of mentorship. In session 2, we will discuss safety and creating safe environments. In session
3, and session 4 is trauma-informed approach or
yes,
re-traumatization process.
Exactly. So that's what the next 4 weeks would look like. These are the goals for the next 4 weeks. Participants will demonstrate an enhanced awareness and comprehension of safety, trustworthiness, transparency, and trauma-informed approaches, fostering an environment conducive to well-being and mutual respect within their personal and professional spheres. Participants will have also gained a comprehensive understanding of safety and trustworthiness and transparency, demonstrated through an appreciation of the importance of mentorship. They create a safe environment, the practice of accountability, and the recognition and mitigation.
Right.
I'm missing word there. Make sure mitigation of re-traumatization processes. So here are the objectives. I won't read over them. You could take a second to glance over, but these will be the objectives for the next 4 weeks. We'll probably be able to address 1 or 2 objectives at each session, beginning with today.
Okay.
And these are objectives not just for the trauma training, but also for the mentoring piece that supplements the trauma training.
Oh, I see now. This will guide participants in recognizing the causes and enduring impacts, enlighten mentees about the significance of trauma-informed approach. Man, I think these objectives will help gamers. There's the importance of playing in fair and this will probably help other gamers across the world too if they use these objectives, the 4 modules that you might use. So yeah.
Absolutely. So some buzzwords that we're going to, as we're communicating over the next 4 weeks, the particular buzzwords that's going to come up will be trauma, indirect trauma, direct trauma, adverse childhood experiences, which we call ACEs, trustworthiness, transparency, and resilience. So these are words that you're going to hear quite often as we go through this curriculum, as we go through this understanding, and over the next 4 weeks. These will be some words that will constantly be repeated throughout some of the instruction and the lecturing and the information that's being presented. So trauma, a deeply distressing or disturbing experience. Indirect trauma is such as vicarious or secondary trauma is when a person is exposed to the trauma of others. And direct trauma is when a person experiences the trauma firsthand. So today we're gonna talk a little bit about those 3: trauma, indirect trauma, and direct trauma. And then Safety, the condition of being protected from an unlikely or cause danger, risk, or injury. And adverse childhood experiences include the childhood emotional, physical, and sexual abuse and household dysfunction during childhood. We're going to watch a video today that's going to introduce us to what that looks like, and then we're going to follow up with two more videos in the next few weeks to kind of build upon that story. So we'll talk about that when we get there. Trustworthiness, the ability to be relied on as honest or truthful. And transparency, of course, what does transparency mean?
Okay.
Transparency speaks to being open and accountable. Honesty is all about telling the truth. And then resilience is the capacity to withstand or recover quickly from difficulties and toughness. Oftentimes, as I've been doing work dealing with traumatized youth, I often say that kids are probably the most resilient. In your youth, you're probably the most resilient. It's more difficult to get introduced to new traumas as an adult. It's more difficult to manage and to process that. But as youth, if we're able to come in and provide supports early, kids are way more resilient than we give them credit for. So today's agenda in particular, we're going to do a trauma pretest, and I think someone else joined. Hello, is this Christian?
Yeah, I had to join because I'm locked outside the side door. They sort of locked the main door and I can't get in.
Oh, so you were coming to the class?
Yeah, I was coming in, and
Okay.
Yeah, I messaged Ty. Can he let me in the side door?
I think he went out, so he may be on his way out to come get you.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Are you still able to see my screen? Are we still on the agenda?
Yes.
Okay. So today's agenda, we're going to do a trauma pretest. This is going to be a video. We're going to run a video, and then we're going to evaluate some of those questions that'll be on the screen as the video is going. You're going to be thinking about the questions or the answers to the questions. We're going to define trauma and have a discussion around trauma awareness and understanding. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break. And then we're going to come back and discuss the adverse impact of trauma. Then we're going to summarize the importance of trauma awareness and understanding. Next week's focus, we're going to build on the safety after trauma, the importance of mentorship, and then we're going to build a mentor. We're going to discuss what a mentor looks like, and then we're going to think about some goals. I just want to put a disclaimer out there that the content and videos utilized in this presentation are merely for educational and informational purposes. This is not intended to substitute for professional advice. So I want to point out the questions that we have at the top of the on the left side before I start didn't mean to start the video yet. Before I start the video, I want us to be mindful. So I want to make sure that everyone could see the questions. And Ty, not Ty, were you able to, when I just actually press the button, press the clip, were you able to hear some of that video?
I was able to hear it.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure it's a lot easier utilizing it in the link versus trying to leave out the screen, and then it's easier for it to be embedded into the PowerPoint versus leaving out. So I want us to to think about, as we are watching the video, some of these questions.
When we hear the word trauma, we often automatically think of war, abuse, a car accident, or something violent. These examples can absolutely be traumatic, but what may be a traumatic experience for one person may not be for someone else. When you feel threatened, your brain signals your body to fight or flee, and when it can't do either, it freezes. You perceive something as traumatic when you feel unsafe, physically or emotionally threatened, or intense distress. Your brain wants to keep you safe and tries to alert you to potential dangers. The trouble is, sometimes, if you have experienced a trauma, your brain sends SOS signals long after the dangerous event is over. How frustrating! People who have experienced trauma can have.
Oh, so sorry. Just touch the screen.
When we hear the word trauma, we often automatically think of war, abuse, a car accident, or something violent. These examples can absolutely be traumatic, but what may be a traumatic experience for one person may not be for someone else. When you feel threatened, your brain signals your body to fight or flee, and when it can't do either, it freezes. You perceive something as traumatic when you feel unsafe, physically or emotionally threatened, or intense distress. Your brain wants to keep you safe and tries to alert you to potential dangers. The trouble is, sometimes, if you have experienced a trauma, your brain sends SOS signals long after the dangerous event is over. How frustrating! People who have experienced trauma can have exaggerated startle responses, such as jumping at loud noises. They may also feel overly anxious in new situations, avoid situations or places related to their past trauma, or have unpleasant thoughts or flashbacks of their trauma. Meet Todd. Sometimes at school, when people speak really loudly, Todd gets scared and can't pay attention. His heart starts racing, his head starts to hurt, and before he knows it, he realizes he isn't paying attention to what the teacher is saying anymore. Todd's counselor helped him realize that this is connected to how he became scared when his father would aggressively scream. Todd learned how to calm himself down so he can feel safe enough in class to learn. If you have been through a trauma, you may feel as though you are reliving it over and over. You can feel really stuck, disconnected from others, or get to some low places. You may even be living in an environment where you feel unsafe or threatened. A professional counselor can help you understand the effects of trauma, explore ways for you to feel safer in your living environment, reconnect with others, and heal from your trauma. You can get to a point where you can remember the traumatic event, but the emotional power and terror will no longer accompany it.
So trauma, and you could choose not to, respond or not. Just some observations or some thoughts based on the video and just based on what we have engaged and talked about trauma so far. Trauma causes changes in the body, in the brain and the body that can happen without us knowing about it. Is that true or false?
In my opinion, and trauma causes is in many events. So
we may not know that we've had these changes. Our body responds, or even internally, we get sick. So trauma causes changes in your brain and your body that could happen without you knowing it. Is that a true or false? I would think it's true.
Okay, I think it's true too.
Right. And okay. And only a small number of people have had a traumatic experience. True or false? Do we think a lot of people have had traumatic experiences or just a few?
Not all people who had traumatic experiences.
Okay.
Either it's in real life or in a movie. You just have to think about.
So you think maybe just a small number of people have had traumatic experience?
It's similar if you compare it side by side.
Trauma may affect a person's health and well-being long after the trauma experience has happened. Do you think that's true or false?
True.
Okay. Triggers are things that remind someone of a dangerous or scary situation that occurred in their past. True or false? So if you're triggered by something, it's a reminder of something, right?
I think that would be true.
Okay. So let's think about when caring for people who are distressed or resisting care, is it best to talk loudly and focus on getting your task done? Tell the resident or the client that everything is fine and there's nothing to worry about, or provide choices?
I think when caring for people who are distressed or resisting care, you have to provide some choices.
Okay. Okay. I would agree with you on that. And next, trauma can be caused by natural disasters like fires, tornadoes, or floods, car, bus, train, or airplane crashes, observing violence, a personal experience with loss or grief, or all of the above.
All of them.
All of them. Yeah. I would venture to agree with you as well on that one. So trauma defined. Trauma is a direct or indirect event or experience that negatively impacts a person's mentally or physically. It could be a deeply distressing or disturbing experience or a negative experience that affected you. So in looking at this definition, and again, it doesn't have to be, and like you stated, everyone may not have had a trauma experience, but remember, trauma could be a direct or indirect experience. So in looking at this definition, do you think that you have, and you don't have to answer, just reflect on it, do you think that you have had a trauma experience before?
I think I remember. Okay, if I rewind back to February.
Okay.
Okay, so it was February 21st. Picture this.
Okay.
A boy walking to the car to see his parents and goodbye to his friends, until for some reason, and he thinks that the roads are clear, until for some reason, and he gets hit by a car and he's in pain. So
yeah, that's a traumatic experience. And that was was that an indirect or a direct experience?
in my opinion, that was a direct experience.
Yep, you are exactly right. That was definitely a direct experience of trauma.
And that reference is that boy was myself.
Oh, wow. You got hit by a car recently?
Yes, 7 months ago, I was walking my way to greet my mom, until for some reason, out of nowhere, I got hit by a white Chevy Cruise.
Oh my good. How are you doing?
Well, for some reason, it was, well, I was good, I'll tell you that. But the big
Okay.
toe that I had, that was either on my right or left, I can't remember. For some reason, it started to crack, and I felt, oh really? I was in tears after that happened.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Well, I am glad that you are here to share that experience. And yes, that's a traumatic experience. And is it okay from time to time if I build upon that as we're having our discussion, since you shared it with me? Is it okay if we use it as an example from time to time?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you. I will definitely do that. Um, so we're gonna move forward with the next slide. So trauma looks different. Trauma can look different depending on people, depending on their worldview, depending on their cultural experiences, depending on their life experiences. So I'm going to show a clip, and this clip is probably about 12 minutes long because I want to share with you, I want to be able to provide you guys of so that you could see how the following clip shows how trauma is manifested in feeling and thought and responses, how she is manifested through her responses to her circumstances. So this is a 3-part series. We're going to share part 1 today, and I'm sure that throughout the next 4 weeks, we will probably review the other. So I just want to make sure that you're aware that this is a 3-part series, but this is a short clip, and it's very impactful. You'll be able to get quite a few tidbits, and we'll be able to pull some great discussion from this clip.
All right.
Why is it some people think they know best, even when it comes to our most personal decisions? Like extremist Phil Nagel, who wants to ban abortion with no exceptions for rape or incest. Vote to protect our rights. Vote no on Phil Nagel.
So I talked to a psychic, and I want to tell you guys about it.
We are transferring you to your psychic. You will hear a
So when you were out there listening to all this feedback, you heard it.
Sometimes someone hurts you so bad.
I don't think you understand.
It stops hurting at all. Until something makes you feel again. And then it all comes back. Every word. Every hurt. Every moment. How could you ever understand where I come from? Even if you ask, even if you listen, you do not really hear or see or feel. You don't remember my story. You haven't walked my path. You haven't seen what I've seen.
Growing up, we had 6 kids jammed into 2 bedrooms. My parents worked sometimes 2 or 3.
My past defines me. This is who I am. I am unseen, unheard, unwanted. That is what I am, if even I am anything. It seemed like the same thing that held me up forced me down. And the world turned upside down, and order disappeared. Nothing was how it was supposed to be. And a heavy sadness filled my soul.
Why is it some people think they know best, even when it comes to our most personal decisions? Like extremist C.L.I.C.K, who wants to ban abortion with no exceptions for rape or incest. Vote to protect our rights. Vote no on C.L.I.C.K.
In Puerto Rico, we call ourselves Boricua, a unique name honoring the vibrant
Deeper and deeper I fell within myself. And nothing could draw me out. Trapped in the misery of my life. Lost in the sorrow of my soul. Unable to see the light. Unable to see the dawn. To feel. To hope.
What are you doing taking my fruit?
To dream. And I found the darkest days of my life kept coming. The blackest nights for my soul never stopped. It seemed like it was always nighttime and nightmares and never morning. And maybe you wonder why, but mostly you try not to think about it and try to get by and try to survive. And all the other stuff seems so much like nothing compared to just wanting the most important things back again. Like wishing you could see your mama's smile again, and hear her sing that one favorite song that always calmed you down when things were all messed up. Or if you couldn't have her back, at least get to take care of your baby brother. 'Cause you know he needs you, and he's gonna be so scared all alone. And who's gonna hold his hand and whisper it'll be all right to him? And who will whisper it to me?
Hi, Zoe. It's so good to have you here. Are you ready to come in?
I know I am helpless, dependent, desperate. But what happens when those you need the most threaten your very existence? I've heard plenty of promises, and they all sound the same. But push hard enough, and sooner or later, they all prove to be empty. The sun comes up every morning, but do you know where? Each place, it's somewhere different. It's hard to find east when you keep moving around. But at least it comes. It always comes. I've come to depend on that.
I'm Patrick Joyce, and as your state senator, I only answer to you. That's why I oppose my party and refuse to vote for their no cash bail law. I'll always fight to keep our communities safe. If you agree that's what a senator should do, I'm asking for your vote.
Emma, did you hear?
Todd's in the hospital.
Who's Todd?
And slowly seasons changed around me. And it seemed this time that maybe the world would not be pulled out from under me again. Feet safe, roots starting to grow. Little buds of hope forming, slowly attempting to trust this new life.
Hey, come on over. Let me show you what I got for you. Got you a gift.
I wish someone would tell me it's gonna be okay.
I swear to God, you touch me again, I will kill you. Don't touch me! Don't care about me!
That one day, maybe, I feel normal. That I won't always be alone. That I'll have a mommy who will hug me and be strong for me. Because maybe I can't do it all by myself.
Is that it? All right. Next, we do a Geico test. Geico. That's what you do. Next is Geico. That's what you do. Action. You do it with a back again. Practice. And by the way, we're going to post in this tab as well. In this as well. So these two guys are good. You're good.
This, my past, my history, my story, is not my fault. It's not because of me. It doesn't have to be what defines my future. I am lovable. I am
Edward,
to
sorry
carry.
about that. I forgot that my mic was.
And that glimmer of light, it makes all the
I felt like I
difference.
made a mistake.
Huh?
It felt like I made a mistake, so I forgot that
The
my mic.
glimmers of light.
Sorry about that.
Okay. He must have.
Give me hope
He must
that
was
someday
booted out.
my summer will come.
Wait, so we left. Wait, indirect versus direct trauma.
Well, wait, I'm gonna go back because I want, I don't know if you were able to.
I was able to hear the whole thing.
Hold up a second. I'm just going forward. I can't. I don't have my glasses on.
Wait.
Wait a minute. Okay, I didn't have my glasses on. I'm going the wrong way. Okay. Okay, so you were able, you got booted. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize
Actually, I
that.
didn't get. Well, I had to exit myself out because for some reason, so I thought I made a mistake because I had my mic on during the video. My fault.
Okay. Well, I heard you talking, so it must have been once you came back in, you were talking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So, but you were able to see most of it for the most part,
Yeah.
the video. So what kind of trauma did you see, did you observe in this clip?
So, in my opinion, when it comes to trauma, you said, let's see. So, remember I told you what I said about the whole car or incident thing? So, so in my opinion, so when it comes to like something that traumatic that would happen in like some movie or anything, for an example, the hate you give, if Star and her
I
friend,
never seen that, but when you look at the video clip that I just showed of the little girl getting removed from her family, what was happening in the home? Why did she have to get removed? If we could.
wait, being separated from her family. Wait.
Yeah, this video showed a young girl being separated from her family, and while she was in the home, there was abuse happening, so that was trauma.
This kind of reminds me of, well, this takes me back to a reference to a Darman video where two sisters get separated from each other, and one of them has to go to a foster home, and then the foster mom or abuses their kid.
Well, this was actually not the situation. This was a situation in this video where she was getting abused at home, and she and her brother were removed and they were placed in separate placements. She was having a difficult time adjusting in the home. She was having a difficult time trusting the new foster parent because of the traumas that she had experienced. The foster mom brought her a new dress, but the dress was a trigger because the last time she was happy or excited about a dress, it wasn't appreciated. She was really yelled at by her dad or stepdad. I don't know who it was.
Wait, so the foster mom bought her a dress, but was actually a triggerment?
It was a trigger because it reminded her of a bad event. Remember we talked about what things can be triggers? So it triggered her because it reminded her of a horrible experience she had had in her home prior to going with the foster mom. Yes. So when she got the new dress should have been something extremely positive, ended up being a horrible trigger for her because it reminded her of a horrible time in her past. So, and I already know what trauma looks like for you. because you definitely explain a very good incident of trauma regarding your car accident. Well, were you walking or were you on a bike?
I was walking.
You was walking, right? So regarding the car incident. So now we're going to go into, and you were alluding to it a few minutes ago. We're going to go into the discussion of direct versus indirect trauma. So indirect trauma are those things like witnessing abuse or violence, listening to others express their trauma. Do you know sometimes if you're around someone who's constantly talking about negative things or traumatic events, it impacts you, it impacts your psyche, it impacts your emotion, it impacts your mood. So that's an example of indirect trauma. I've often told people that I rarely watch the news. And it wasn't until I got older till I realized why I never watched the news, because the news, most of the news that comes on, it's always negative, or it's always some kind of bad news, some kind of horrific or situation that has happened. So I found the news to be depressing for me. So it was a traumatic experience. So I didn't watch the news, but that would be indirect trauma. Nothing was happening to me directly. It was just my feelings or my experiences or my reaction to what I was seeing. Direct trauma is the opposite. That you are the victim of abuse, neglect, exploitation. So whether it's verbal, physical, sexual, emotional, financial, bullying, all of those things, you are the victim of that. Most people have experienced some form of traumatic experience, some form of verbal, physical, sexual, emotional, bullying, or adverse childhood experience, some form of abuse, neglect, or exploitation. Bullying has become not just a buzzword in schools, but it's also become a buzzword in the workplace, because you have supervisors, you have managers, you have leaders that bully their employees, and that's making the work environment uncomfortable or threatening jobs as a result of low performance or things like that, but not providing a resource for the person to be effective. Those are examples of possible workplace bullying. Victim of trauma, including violence, so torture, assault, war, natural disaster, man-made disaster, terrorism, catastrophic accident. So your accident was violent because you were actually hurt. You were hit, you were struck unexpectedly, and that was a traumatic experience for you. People that are war heroes or that were captured or whatever in war, those are people that survivors of those were traumatic experiences. 911, I don't know if you are old enough to really understand what happened on 9/11/2001, if I'm not mistaken. But yes, 911 was a traumatic event, was for the United States. And also COVID was also a traumatic event. Many people lost their lives during COVID, during the early stages of COVID, before we were able to manage and monitor. A lot of people lost jobs. A lot of people went into isolation, went into depression when we had to, go virtual and completely become this isolated society. That was very traumatic and difficult for some people who work best with communication, who work best seeing people, who work best with physical touch. It could also be medical or psychological events. So mental health crises, nervous, go ahead.
So about those direct traumas and indirect traumas. So even though the victim of neglect, I've seen some I've seen some people have neglected on their child,
Mm-hmm.
in foster care or not in foster care. Well,
Yep. And that's direct trauma for the child. But because you've observed it and you have a feeling about it, it's indirect trauma for you because you've witnessed the neglect or you've witnessed the abuse.
yes, that's true. So,
Yeah. We'll be back.
I should be back before Anthony gets here.
Okay, Elijah, ready to move forward?
let's move forward then.
Let's move forward. Okay, gotcha. Sounds good. So the adverse impact of trauma. So some of the things, some of the emotions, as we explore some of the emotions, behavior, things that adversely impact us as a result of trauma, you get feelings of, sometimes there's feelings of hopelessness. Some people, a lot of war vets have nightmares and flashbacks. You have intrusive memories, things that, you remember things that are painful, difficult, panic attacks. You're emotionally overwhelmed. Some people, their bodies respond to trauma. The adverse responses is chronic pain or headaches. There's eating disorders. All of these are some of the impacts, the adverse impacts of trauma. So substance abuse, self-destructive behaviors. So can you tell me, what do you think a self-destructive behavior is?
Self-destructive behavior. What does
Yeah,
self-destructive behavior do? So
what is an example of something, a behavior that could be self-destructive? So maybe people who, what are some dangerous or risky recreational things that people do that's self-destructive?
okay, so something that people think that might be self-destructive is wait. Want to making your body feel uncomfortable will be
Okay.
a self-destructive problem.
So like self-harming?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great example, actually. Other examples of adverse, the impact of trauma, the adverse impacts of trauma is little or no memories. You become hyper violent, disassociation, depression, become irritable. Insomnia is also an adverse impact of trauma, and decreased concentration. So all of these things are behaviors. We explore those emotions, the behaviors, those things that directly relate, provide adverse impact trauma. In reviewing the video and reflecting on the clip that we saw, some of the things that she did, she became disassociated. She became hyper violent. When she was, screaming and yelling, "I hate you, I hate you," she became hyper violent. She didn't have, well, she had flashbacks. That was when a flashback was when she received the dress as a gift from her foster mom, and she immediately began to flashback to what that experience was for her, the negative experience that it was for her when she previously had received a similar gift, and was excited about it and was sharing it, and the response that she got from it.
Okay.
So just in summary of what we've gone over and what we've discussed and what we've explored today with regard to understanding trauma, it's important to understand trauma, because then it helps us to understand why we respond and why we react the way that we do. And it's just for our own psychological safety that we understand that. So that's one reason why it's important to understand trauma, but it's also important to understand it not just for ourselves, but as we engage with other people. We never know what someone else is feeling. I oftentimes say, be kind, because you never know what someone has experienced or what someone is going through. You never know what traumas a person has faced just in that day alone. So it does not hurt to be kind to an individual. So the importance of understanding trauma helps us not to only help better understand and regulate and put perspective on our own emotion, but it's also important for us, emotion and feelings, but it's also important for us to be able to be more kind and more compassionate and more tolerant of the people that we are engaging with every day, whether we are engaging with them virtually or whether we are engaging with them face to face, family members and all. Just never know. You never know what someone has experienced and what they have not shared with you regarding their experiences. Last week when you and I talked, and we talked about traumatic experience, or talked about had anybody experienced trauma and what that looked like, it was a little difficult to really define it because we didn't have a big understanding of it. But as we talked this week, you have a different perspective. You have a bigger understanding of what trauma is, and you were able to identify, yes, that whole car accident was a traumatic event for me. And that's exactly what it was. So we're gonna start our second half with a discussion of the importance of mentorship. So mentorship provides guidance and support. Mentors provide valuable guidance and support based on their experiences and expertise, helping mentees navigate challenges and make informed decisions. So it's important. We want to tap in now as we understand these traumas. We're going to try to now to tap into our possible support systems, right? Everyone needs someone that provides some kind of support. Whereas the mentor may not provide all of these things, it will benefit you. You'll have a good coping mechanism if you're able to identify at least one person that could provide some of this support, this mentorship for you. Knowledge transfers. Mentors share their knowledge, their skills, their insights, the learning process for mentees, and they help them to avoid pitfalls. So if you have someone that's, giving you some advice or, helping you make decisions and choices so that you don't make the same mistakes they do. Sometimes our parents, sometimes our brothers and sisters can be a huge source of mentorship for us. It provides networking opportunities. Mentors often open doors to valuable networking opportunities and connecting the mentees with influential individuals and resources that can further their personal or professional growth. This program in particular is just that. This program that you're in now is connecting you to resources, connecting you and providing you with skill and a new skill set or an enhanced skill set to help enlarge your capacity per se. Confidence building through encouragement and constructive feedback. Mentors help mentees build confidence in their abilities, enabling them to take on new challenges and pursue goals with greater conviction. So when you have a mentor that is encouraging you and is boosting you to go beyond your comfort zone or to take in some new information or some new skill to help you think a little bit differently, that's building you, that's for helping you to pursue greater goals and to challenge yourself. Mentor accountability. Mentors hold mentees accountable for their goals and actions. They foster a sense of responsibility and commitment to personal and professional development. So mentors hold you accountable. A mentor should hold you accountable. If you say this is what you want to do, hey, let's sit down, let's develop a plan, and let's help you reach your goal. And they're going to hold you accountable to it. They will remind you when you make choices or you make decisions that are contrary to where you say you want to be or the goals that you say you want or the approach or the outcome that you want to have. When you make decisions that's contrary to that, your mentor is responsible for redirecting you, for guiding you back, for bringing you back, for centering you to help you stay focused on what you need. Mentors often offer a different perspective on a mentee situation, encouraging reflection and critical thinking, which can lead to a deeper insight and growth. In our discussion, when you shared earlier about your accident, we provided, I was probing and hoping that now you tied in what that traumatic experience was. And again, remember I said that trauma for everybody is contingent upon their worldview, their personal, their cultural, and their life experiences. So your life experiences, you were able to clearly identify, and not only did you identify it, you were able to tell the story. You went back to that moment and you told the story of how it happened. So you put me there. You made me indirect. I was indirectly affected by your trauma because you told the story to me in a way that I could simply visualize what was happening. So then it drew feelings of me of concern because as you told the story, I'm like, wow, are you okay? That was something serious. That was a huge event. And in addition, mentorships can significantly impact career advancement by providing mentees with the necessary skill, knowledge, and support to excel in their chosen field. Again, that's what this program will hopefully equip and will hopefully assist you in doing. I'm going to show a video by Vinnie Malcolm. It's a TED Talk. It's called the mutual benefits of mentorship. So he's going to start to talk about his first real mentor, the importance of mentorship, the evidence, the mentoring provides stability. He's going to touch in on that. He's going to talk about mentees. People who have mentors are 5 more times likely to be promoted than those without mentors, and why you need a mentor.
Some people believe that their future is already written. This is dedicated to those who take fate into their own hands.
I was 21, young and ambitious, wanting to make money, be independent, start my life. I was just about to graduate college when I met an executive named Mitzi at an advertising club meeting. Mitzi and I hit it off, and she said she would introduce me to some folks at Gray Advertising. Gray would be my dream job, but I had no industry connections, and my college wasn't known for marketing and advertising. Mitzi knew I needed guidance. Having come from an underrepresented minority group herself, she told me something that would change my life. She told me, you need a mentor. And then she helped me get the job at Gray. A year later, I met my first real mentor, Richard. From Richard, I learned what to do and what not to do. He mentored me professionally and personally. Initially, we met in New York City when he offered me his couch as I was in between jobs and I'd broken up with my girlfriend. Richard also introduced me to the woman I was married to for 25 years. Twice, he brought me back into the business when I'd left advertising for a while. And when I moved to California, he was instrumental in finding me a place to live in LA and also in obtaining account executive positions at Kiss FM and finally at KCAL TV, which was then owned by Disney. Richard became the big brother I never had. Another mentor was John. With John, my career took on a more accelerated trajectory. He watched out for me and made sure my name was in considerations for promotions. If I got the promotion, it was up to me to do the job. But John also made himself available to me when things got tough. I remember when John was being promoted and he wanted me to replace him. Politics made the promotion tenuous at best. But in the end, we were able to work it out, and I was able to succeed John and replace him as president and general manager of KTLA. We need mentorship today more than ever before. We need professional and personal, formal and informal mentors. Millennials and Generation Z have borne the financial impact of not only the pandemic, but the Great Recession of 2008. They're behind professionally and financially, and they need to catch up. With millennials projected to comprise more than 75% of the workforce by 2025, and with 79% of them saying mentoring is important to them, it's imperative that we support this generation. The pandemic's effect on this generation points to 3 areas that companies need to focus on: skill development, stress management, and emotional intelligence. Mentorship is a crucial solution that's existed for thousands of years. Socrates mentored Plato, John Wooden mentored Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Maya Angelou mentored Oprah Winfrey. In each case, the mentees gave much of the credit to their success to their mentors. Oprah said of Maya Angelou, "She was there for me always, guiding me through some of the most important years of my life." Mentoring is important, and I don't know how anybody can make it in this world without mentorship. The evidence continues. Those with mentors at work are 71% more likely to say there's opportunities for advancement, and 89% more likely to say their colleagues appreciate their contributions, and 91% more likely to say they're satisfied with their jobs. Mentorship provides stability. It's like an anchor. When young professionals feel cared for and invested in, their commitment to the organization increases. The top reasons for young professionals wanting to quit their jobs is lack of opportunity for advancement and lack of learning and development. Mentorship helps mentees learn faster and leapfrog rookie mistakes and misjudgments. I love this famous quote from Sir Isaac Newton: "If I've seen further than others, it's because of standing on the shoulders of giants." What a great quote. Newton gives credit for those who helped him for his success. Mentees can also learn over the course of several years or in the course of one meeting. Once I was in a meeting and I wasn't accomplishing my goals. For some reason, the client wanted to help me, and he took the opportunity to show me another way to make my proposal more enticing, and then he bought what I was selling. but mentorship is also a strong precursor to promotion for mentors and mentees. Mentees are 5 times more likely to be promoted than those without mentors, and mentors themselves are 6 times more likely to be promoted than those who are not mentors. But mentorship does not guarantee automatic promotion, and mentees can get discouraged. But that doesn't mean you don't have a great mentor. When work politics got between John and I almost didn't get the promotion, it was a very difficult time, to say the least. But trusting John, trusting the process, believing that he was doing a good job, was the key to my long-term success. Mentors must have influence if they're going to influence the advancement of a mentee's career. It was easier to trust John because he had influence in the company. I told you earlier that Mitzi told me I needed a mentor. What I didn't tell you was everything she said. She told me I needed a white mentor. What she said perplexed me for a long time, but in the end, I realized her words had my best interest at heart. Most of the senior executives in the industry were white, as it is in most industries today and organizations. And the best mentors have a sphere of influence or power. But one of the challenges is that mentees don't get to pick their mentors. Mentors tend to pick people like themselves. In 2000, white males were 35% of the population, but 96.4% of the Fortune 500 CEOs. In 2020, there's a slight improvement. White executives were 85.6%, African Americans were 1%, Asians were 2.4%, and Latinx was 3.4% of the Fortune 500 CEOs. Diversity at the bottom doesn't necessarily make it to the top. Hence, I needed a white mentor. If top management was more diversified, Mitzi wouldn't have had to say that. If your company is mostly white at the top, mentoring a diverse group of mentees is the organic and sustainable way to make it diverse at the top. Companies are 25% more likely to outperform their competitors financially when gender diverse, and 36% more likely to outperform them when ethnically diverse. One of the hardest truths about mentorship is that mentees don't get to pick the mentors. It's the other way around. The power is in the hands of the mentors, and there are just not enough of them to go around. In fact, most people think mentors are important. 76% of them think they are, but only 37% have them. There's a huge gap. Mentorship perpetuates itself as mentees become mentors, and both groups benefit. I mentioned earlier Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Kareem said of John Wooden, "I learned so much from this man from day one until the day he passed. And since he's passed, I'm still learning from the experiences with him." What an incredible human being. And John Wooden said of Kareem, "I had no idea how tough it was for him at times. I learned so much from Kareem about man's inhumanity to man than I've learned anywhere else. I never imagined anyone could feel or talk like that." I get it. Once you've been mentored, you want to give back. Remember my mentor, John? We hadn't talked in a while. And last year, he started talking more frequently. And every time we talked, he would mention to me how much more I did for him than he did for me. I'd never thought about that. I'd always thought about what he did for me, not what I did for him. And remember Richard? I hired Richard at KTLA 4 years after leaving KCAL, and we worked together for over a decade. Whether it's over the life of the mentees or in a single moment, we've seen the benefits of mentorship for thousands of years. It's good for the young professionals, it's good for the enterprise, and it's good for the mentors. We can't afford not to step up and mentor. Are you a mentor? Could you be a mentor? Are you a coach? Are you a tutor? Are you a good neighbor? Turn to the person next to you and tell them who you're going to mentor starting on Monday. I promise you, it's the greatest feeling in the world. Thank you.
So Elijah, do you have a mentor? Elijah,
All right.
Thank you. I said, do you have a mentor, or do you have someone who you think has served as a mentor for you?
As a mentor for me? No, I didn't have one yet.
So, and I think what this video helps us to understand is that a mentor may not necessarily define themselves as such. They may not necessarily say, "Hey, I'm your mentor." It just may be someone who has provided supports for you. It could have been a teacher. It could be individuals in this program who has given you information to help you be better, who has given you direction to help you be better than what you were before. And mentors don't have to be don't have to be in a situation where they're there for the duration of your life. It could be for a particular season and time in your life. So it could be someone that when you were in elementary, this person was someone that really helped you to get past your difficulties in school. That was your mentor at that time. And then you go into a next phase of life, and then it's somebody else that may help you through a challenging time or help you build confidence or created an opportunity. The person who may have introduced you to this program, so they introduce you to something that could help possibly advance your career, or a networking opportunity, or something that could enhance your capacity or expand your knowledge. That person served in that purpose or served in that moment as a mentor for you for that period of time. So sometimes it could be as simple as that. It doesn't have to be so defined and well defined. And what he stated, Mr. Malcolm stated in the video, is that the mentor typically chooses their mentee. So they find someone who reminds them of them, maybe reminds them of their younger self, or remind them of a period in their life that they were challenged in, and they latch on. Coaches are typically mentors, whether it's stated or unstated. They're typically mentors. Teachers are mentors. So and parents or aunts and uncles can also be mentors. So it can come in different shapes and sizes. What we have to identify is, who are those people that I go to when I need support, or who I go to when I need answers. So those are typically the people that we identify as our mentors.
So about this, well,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to mentorship, for some reason, would this be a new experience for people who don't have a mentor?
You said what now?
Would this be a new experience for someone who does have a mentor for years?
So would it be a new experience for someone who's had a mentor for years?
What I meant to say was, would it be different if someone didn't have a mentor and didn't know what to do? So, in my opinion, and people need mentors that could assist them on all types of different things.
So would this service for someone who needs a mentor, would this program help service that?
This would either help him or her.
Yeah.
Learn the benefits.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's exactly what one of the purposes is. That's exactly what it's developed and created for. While I may not be able to be a mentor for the gaming and the coding and all the other techie stuff that you guys learn, I could definitely be a resource and a support and someone who could help provide perspective and reflection when it comes to kind of managing those thoughts that sometimes want to discourage you, want to be discouraged, or you want to give up, or you want to quit. I can help navigate you into understanding what happened, or what things are going on, what traumatic experiences happen that's leading you to feel like you want to give up, or you don't like it, or it's not worth it. So every mentor may serve a different purpose. Every mentor may, you may have a mentor that you, and so I will say with my friends. So let's just say I have 3 solid friends that I consider like true definition of friend. But what I share with each one may be different. I may go to one friend when I want to talk about personal things. I may go to another friend when I want to talk about work and career things. And I may go to another friend when I'm having problems or concerns with my children. So they each serve as a mentor for me at the same time, but what I need from them is different. So what you need from this program, what you'll get from, the instructors from each class, or each experience that you have, what information and supports you get will, you'll pull from their expertise or their knowledge.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So let's build a mentor. What would an ideal mentor look like for you?
In my opinion, a mentor would teach me new things that I haven't thought of doing before.
Okay.
So this mentor would teach me the benefits in my life on doing everything, such as paying, such as how to do. Let's see, how to get payments in time, or in my opinion, how to make your insurance right.
Okay. So they have to have some kind of knowledge and skill about what you do in your profession, right? In order to help you grow and help you be better, right?
Yes.
And so you were also very specific about what you expect to learn, what you would like to learn from your mentor. You know, and so, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Now I see more.
So as we sum up today and we start to focus on what we need to think about for next week, we're going to start. You talked about you talked about how you want to advance career-wise and skill set-wise. I want you to start thinking about your educational goals. We're going to spend some time next week talking about goals and goal setting. And then I want you to think about how we're going to start elaborating on how to build safety after trauma. So we're going to start talking about that safety and creating safe environments after we are now aware and have an understanding of those traumas and those things that probably, or just learning so that maybe we could be able to help understand someone else better or be able to share some knowledge and some information with someone else.
Yeah,
So so any questions for me for this week?
No questions.
No questions. So you have a bit of a break before your 6 o'clock class starts. And I will definitely see you next Thursday.
Yeah, you'll see me next Thursday.
Okay. See you later, Elijah.